Now, what is the most famous Kia you can think of? Most of you would say the Kia Ceed, and you are actually correct. The Kia Ceed is the most famous Kia, with it being the reasonably priced car on Top Gear. Well, unfortunately, Kia has discontinued the legendary Ceed, like Ford did with the Focus. But unlike Ford, Kia hasn't stopped the family hatchback altogether. They have in fact replaced it with this. This is the new Kia K4. Let's have a look to see what it is like and if it is a good Kia Ceed replacement. Welcome to Everything Cars and More. So, starting with the overall design of the K4, and this is one of the biggest cars in its segments. This is really helped by the front end design. It is low and wide. It makes this car look like an executive coupe, which I really like. We get some big headlights with the star map LED daytime running lights in them, and they stretch down to the side of the car. Connecting these is the Tiger Nose grille, which is slim and wide, again helping to make it look very wide. We also get a decent sized central air vent too. To help with the overall design, we also get a fairly long bonnet than normal too, which I do really quite like. Moving around to the side, and this is where you can easily see its overall size. We get a simple design which I am okay with, but it has a premium feel to it with some gloss black wheel arches and lower seals. We also get some chrome materials that a lot of car makers are moving away from now. We also get a floating roof design as well as a hidden door handle on the rear door. Finally, we also get some very good wheel options and a bright red colour option, which is another thing car manufacturers are moving away from at the moment, but I do really like it on this car. Moving around to the back, and for me this is the best angle. We get these wide but tall tail lights that also stretch down to the side of the car, giving it a sleek coupe style look. Again, these have the star map pattern in them. With this design we get an almost boot lip spoiler on it, giving it an athletic and sleek look. The bumper design is sporty looking and houses some gloss black materials and some hidden style air vents, which I do quite like. Really, this is something I would have expected from a high-end German brand. Right, let's have a look to see what engine and gearbox options you can have with the new Kia K4. So, the engine range in the K4 is quite simple. You can have 4 options. Let's start with the first one. This uses a 1 litre turbo petrol unit which has 113 brake horsepower. This can do 0 to 62 in 12.2 seconds, which isn't the quickest, but the best part is that it does send its power through a 6-speed manual gearbox to the front wheels. The next engine is the same 1 litre turbo petrol unit, but this time it has mild hybrid assistance, which does increase the 0 to 62 time very slightly to 12.3 seconds, but really this will never be noticeable in real world driving. But this time it does send its power through a 7-speed automatic gearbox. The next engine uses a 1.6 litre turbo petrol unit which produces a 147 brake horsepower. This can do 0 to 62 in 9.1 seconds, which isn't too bad, and it sends its power through a 7-speed automatic gearbox to the front wheels. The final version uses the same 1.6 litre turbo petrol unit, but this time it increases the brake horsepower again to 177. Again, this reduces the 0 to 62 time even further to 8.4 seconds, which isn't too bad, and the power is still sent to the front wheels through a 7-speed automatic gearbox. The price of the new Kia K4 starts at £26,045. This is a significant increase over the outgoing Ceed by £4,000 in fact, but this is justified as it is a much bigger car and has much more spec on the base model. Right then, let's have a look to see what the interior is like. So, climbing inside the new Kia K4, and we get the same interior as other new Kias. To start with, we get quite a low down dashboard and a lot of grey plastic, which I'm not a big fan of. We do get some soft touch materials now, and we also get the usual new 3-screen setup with the latest infotainment system on the left, the climate control system in the middle, and a fully digital instrument cluster in front of the driver. This is the same setup as other Kias like the EV4 and EV5 for example. The infotainment system works well and is easy to use, as is the instrument cluster, but I'm not a fan of the climate control screen, especially as we have a row of switches for the climate control in the centre of the dashboard. We also get a row of radio switches too, and a volume knob, and I do think this could have been implemented better in the style of the Sportage has, with a screen that switches between the two modes. The centre console has an okay design to it, and I also like the fact we get a proper old-fashioned automatic shifter. There is also a decent amount of storage too. The seats are the same as other Kias and are comfortable and supportive, and are actually decent on a long journey. The spec I would go for would be the GT Line S model, and with this you get a full leather interior as well as ventilated seats and a nice premium Harman Kardon sound system just to finish it off. It's very rare to find a car with this amount of spec in this segment. Only the Astra can beat that. You also get a better steering wheel too on that model, with this dual coloured design. Overall no, it isn't a bad interior, but there are some better ones in the market compared to this one. Right, let's have a look to see what the rear seats are like. So, climbing into the back of the K4, and we do get a decent amount of legroom, but headroom could have been a bit better due to the sloping roof. What I will say now is that we do get a lot of cheap plastics in the back and on the doors, especially on the backs of the front seats. It does really cheapen the car, and knowing what Kia plastics are like, they will also get scuffed and scratched very easily, which is a big shame. We do get some air vents now, some USB-C ports and an armrest. You also get heated rear seats on the top spec GT Line S models. If you don't care about rear passengers now, then it is fine. Let's have a look at the boot. So, opening the boot to the new K4, and you are welcomed with a 430 litre boot space, which is much bigger than most of its rivals like the Golf or Astra. Now, bear in mind, if you do have a mild hybrid version, then this does decrease down to 328 litres, but it is still more than usable. Folding the seats down 60-40 split, and then you are welcomed with 1,217 litres, which is fine. Now, you do also get a little ski hatch, which I like, but I would have liked an option of a 40-20-40 folding seat bench, but also a false floor, as there is a little hump to lift things over, but they are just little niggles that I have with the car. So in summary then, what do I think of the new Kia K4? Well, in terms of looks, inside and out, as well as practicality, Kia has really nailed it with this car. It looks like a premium German car, and it's nice to see a different style to the humble family hatchback to keep this segment alive. Nowadays, manufacturers are doing more or less the same design as everyone else, and there hasn't been any differentiation, and it's getting quite boring now, but also harder to find a new car that people like. I think the Kia K4 is the turning point we need. There are a few niggles that I do think need to be fixed to make it the ultimate family hatchback now, and it needs to be done to beat the usual Golf and Astra rivals. Overall now, it is a very good car. Well done Kia for a good Kia seat replacement. So, what do you think of this car then? Leave a comment below, and whilst you're at it, don't forget to give a like and subscribe to Everything Cars and More. I'll see you in the next video.